Ladies and gentlemen,
only the best internet radio station in the world.
oh yeah!
No, the universe.
The Kota iRadio Network.
Back by popular demand.
Woo!
Now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
I'm your DJ.
DjBBQ.
It's done over 400 events.
Oh yeah!
5, 4, 3,
2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands in the air.
Let's get ready to rumble! This is UnCut Live. Now, here's DjBBQ.
Greetings, wrestling friends. I'm Ron Kilbourn. Catch me every week as the new co-host of Pro Wrestling UnCut, only on the Kota iRadio Network podcast. Join myself, Cole Dawson, and DjBBQ as we discuss all things professional wrestling. And I got one question for you. Whose house? Ron's house.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is DjBBQ of the Kota iRadio Network. This is the UnCut Live show. We got special guests today. We have a big fight feel, big main event happening Saturday, January 16th in Omaha, Nebraska. We have Jaysin Strife with us. He will be facing the real world's champion, NWA, Nick Aldis, on Saturday.
Yeah.
Mr. Strife, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no problem, man. Always
So, for those that do not know you outside of the U.S., give them a little, little word on who Mr. Strife is.
Well, I am the ever consummate professional. I am a man of many hats. And I've been a professional wrestler for creeping up on 17 years now. Started my 17th year. I have traveled all over the United States, West Coast, East Coast. Spent some time in Europe back in 2011, and just keeping grinding, man. We're trying to get that worldwide notoriety.
So, if somebody was wondering about Jaysin Strife, what would you say that you would be familiar to give them a good example of your ring set?
As far as like notable matches, or
who they can compare you to, so they get a little bit better idea visually.
For many years, I was compared to AJ Styles. Really, because when I started wrestling, my hair was short. We looked like brothers, so
yeah,
it was always the first thing everybody said to me. Oh, you look like AJ Styles, be his brother. Yeah. Later on, it kind of evolved into The Miz, which is weird because I don't wrestle anything like The Miz. Again, I think it was just because I looked like him. But yeah, I mean, I kind of have my own flair for things. I've got a lot of different, what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, a lot of us call you the ace of the Midwest. That's for sure.
I mean, I can agree with that. I'm not going to argue that at all. That's for sure. Definitely not going to argue that at all. So,
I mean, a lot of us fans would describe the professional wrestler of of the Midwest, the heart and soul. Jaysin Strife is up there it's up there, definitely.
I like to call myself the best kept secret in the Midwest, but I also think everybody here in the Midwest that has the skill and the talent to go on to further places are all kind of a gigantic secret, because we're in this weird black hole where just right around the Omaha area, down into Kansas City, up into Sioux Falls, like it's like we don't exist, which is terrible, because there's a lot of talent out here that even when they get out and travel, it just doesn't seem like it's enough. It's like once people find out we're from the Midwest, we just disappear again.
Yeah, I always have this argument on all of my social media, or else the podcast social media, that we are the heart and soul of professional wrestling, bar none. End of story. There's no other school. I mean, this is technically the original territory days pro wrestling. So anybody that wants to argue that, I guess, would have to have an extreme valid point, which is not going to beat my point at all.
Yeah, it definitely isn't what it used to be, which is a shame.
Yeah. Speaking of roads, the road to get to the NWA, the 10 pounds of gold, can you give us a little bit of the mindset that you're going into this, what it took you to get to this road?
A lot of hard work, not just in the ring, but out of the ring. I mean, obviously, it's not really it's not a secret. I own and operate MagnumPro, and I've had just this vision, especially over the course of like the last year and a half or so, that because we're in this black hole out here, that we needed something that was going to stand out, that was going to help people get noticed.
Yeah.
And going into that, my thought process, well, what a better way to do it than take the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship.
Right.
Move MagnumPro up to that next tier as a professional wrestling promotion, and thus, in the same foul swoop, moving myself up to that tier as well. And whether I come out on top or not and beat Nick Aldis, I mean, I'm gunning for this match to be something that people have to talk about. People can't ignore it. And I'm going to make sure that when it's all said and done, that's not going to happen. People are going to know who we are out here, and they're going to remember who I am at the end of the day, Saturday.
Well, when you had this announcement and you hyped it up like you should, and everybody finally realized on who was coming to the area, we started having debates and deliberate on, his opponents, far as who was his biggest threat. And we're looking at all their skill sets and everything, and then we're looking at yours and comparing that. And honestly, without seeing anything being said yet, you literally legitimately are the biggest threat to his title.
Hands down. I'm a wild card. Plain and simple. The fact that all of Nick's most notable defenses right now are against people that you can see on a national level, have been on a national level, have been on the radar, and have been, watched by everybody. So everybody knows who they are and what they do. Like, I understand. I'm walking into this as probably an afterthought to him, which is going to be his absolute biggest mistake. And so if he doesn't do his homework, he doesn't do his proverbial homework going into this match, he's going to be in for a whole lot of trouble.
I mean, I'm a professional wrestling aficionado. I a historian. I look at it. I go back and, you said about AJ Styles and you're, basically like identical twins. I look back there and, if it's anything like the TNA days when he was around there, he's going to have to pay attention, because your skill set is nowhere near his skill set of wrestling. Like, yes, he's had previous opponents, very well noted. Cody Rose, pretty much similar, wrestling skill set. Recently he had some that were shown, not really going to go all into names, but like, it's basically more than none the same type of wrestling skill set. Yours is not. Yours is the opposite. And normally when it's polar opposites, it's great chemistry, but that polar opposite usually comes on top.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. It was really interesting a few years back when I wrestled AJ Styles, how similar, ironically, how similar our styles actually are. And I've wrestled, I'm not going to sit and name drop, but I've wrestled, the who's who of people in professional wrestling, people that have gone on to be on TV, people that have come off from being on TV, people that have traveled the world, and I've held my ground against every single one of them. When I went to England years ago, I learned a whole new style, and I got to wrestle a whole new just gamut of people, and I think that's what is really going to set me apart.
Now let's go a little more detail with MagnumPro Wrestling, because there's a lot of individuals obviously that probably don't know anything about MagnumPro.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say one thing as somebody that doesn't own it, that's just a fan. It's the pinnacle of professional wrestling in the Midwest, as far as in the tri-state area, the lower part of the upper Midwest. The who's who have been all there.
Absolutely. I mean, coming into our 10th anniversary show, and we started out just meager beginnings. When we first started, I had our ring custom built to be in an Eagles club with like a 10-foot ceiling, so it was super low to the ground. And I mean, all we wanted to do was just have a decent place to wrestle and get drunk, really. And so that's what we did. And it just kind of started to evolve over the years, where I started to take more pride in it. And as I started to bring on new people that had the same type of passion and creative juices that I did, we just started to grow. I've got to give a huge shout out to my head of production, Logan Davis, and his Free Captive company. We've had our ups and downs, as a lot of people in the wrestling business have, but right now we wouldn't have the presentation that we've got if it wasn't for him. And obviously all the guys around here, all my local guys, that a lot of them I've seen come up from the very beginning and gave their first shot in wrestling to. We've built something solid here, and we're just going to continue to do that. And I am excited for the future. I don't so much have aspirations for TV anymore around here, just because Omaha is a weird market. So we're shooting for the moon. We're shooting for we have our deal with IWTV, so we're trying to capitalize on that. I keep putting out older content. We're getting all of our new stuff up right away. I think this world title match is going to be really good for us too. So,
well, you're talking about that ITT pay-per-view. Basically, if you do a Twitch or a YouTube, it's basically network broadcasting television anymore. That's what that generation is right now. Mm-hmm. If you don't mind, with your card, can we go down the card and talk about a couple of the matches, or actually let's just not say couple, let's talk about all the matches if you have time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have a stacked card of talent. The one that I really want to talk about is the Nate Redwing you're having. Beast of a man.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit about that match?
That's been brewing for a while. It's gonna be a fight, that's for sure. TJ Benson's gonna have his hands full. Redwing is. I've tangled with Redwing enough, and I can tell you that dude's an absolute monster. Picks me up and throws me around like he's just a dad playing with his small child. It's ridiculous. You can't move him.
Yeah.
I've got 30 pounds on TJ, but now you're putting him in a steel cage.
Yeah.
And it's just there's really nowhere for him to run, because even as big of a man as Redwing is, he's fast.
Yeah, he is.
He's a former football player. I mean, he's agile for a big man. You don't expect it. And that shoulder tackle is just getting hit by a freight train.
A little bit about TJ Benson, a little bit to give the fans a little idea who Nate's opponent is. There's a lot of us that know who he is, but there's a lot that don't. You give us a little detail, a little information about him.
TJ Benson is a professional MMA fighter turned professional wrestler, and is again an MMA fighter. So now he's juggling two sports. But he's an accomplished fighter. He has had, oh man, I think he said is a 13+ year career as an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
I trained him a few years back and got him ring ready and got him in the ring, and I mean he's just kind of taken off. He's super underrated, and since he's a smaller guy, people overlook him, but he's got stopping power, and I don't think that people realize that, and mix that with his speed.
Yeah,
he's one of the fastest strikers I've ever seen. So I mean,
right.
I actually just a month ago, I actually watched this dude kick somebody so hard they shit their pants. So
yeah, that was a pretty.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. You can say it. We got that covered. That was a pretty shitty night for his opponent, if I can say it myself.
Still, that the result of that fight boggled my mind.
Right.
But just a couple weeks after that, he went in and fought up weight classes and won first round. So versatility, man, it's dangerous.
Well, speaking of chaos, let's go to the tag team match. You're gonna have it looks like it's a lumberjack match, is from what I'm reading here. Popsicle versus the Coalition. Coalition. Yes, I am illiterate. I'm my bad. I apologize.
It's all good.
Can you give us a little information about both tag teams here?
Got a lot of those guys have a lot of history. Cold Stone Tim Boston and Donnie Pepper Cricket have been on a roll. They've been a really solid, cohesive unit. I mean, they were tag champs for quite some time, almost a year, I want to say. And I mean, they just work well together. They're entertaining. The crowd loves them. But the Coalition, they kept throwing curveballs. The Coalition used to be the Revolution, and then Pat Powers took over and removed Joe DeSanti and kind of lit a fire under those guys. And then, lo and behold, they swerved everybody and had Joe DeSanti come back. So it was like this collaboration of the Revolution and the Coalition, and they just keep throwing curveballs. It catches everybody off guard. And that's how they won the tag titles. So we're just kind of we're going to put the people out there and try to make sure we have as little to none outside interference as possible with this lumberjack match, so these guys can finally finish the job.
Well, if anybody's a professional wrestling fan, we all know that chaos usually happens during a lumberjack match.
Yeah, typically.
And chaos is fun, and it's enjoyable. Now, the next match that I want to talk about is the Gateway Heritage Championship match. The Copperhead, Duke Cornell, and Jeremy Wyatt. I know a lot about Duke Cornell, the Copperhead. He isn't anybody to, not to quote a famous rapper, but he ain't nobody to fuck with.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know too much about Jeremy Wyatt, not saying that I haven't seen him, but I don't have a lot of information on him. Could you give me a little information for myself and the viewers a little bit before we go to the Copperhead?
So, just to put this in perspective, when you reference me to you being like the professional wrestler in the Midwest, I have to take a step back, and for me to say that Jeremy Wyatt is the best professional wrestler in the Midwest. Jeremy is phenomenal. That guy has got just ring cardio out the ass and then some. Everybody always used to talk about Christopher Daniels being like having the best ring cardio in the world. And I mean, I can't attest to that because I've never wrestled him, but you could probably ask Jeremy Wyatt because I'm pretty sure Jeremy Wyatt has wrestled him. So
yeah.
But Jeremy Wyatt is the best technical wrestler in the Midwest for sure. There's a reason he's held that Gateway Heritage title for as long as he has and beat the people that he's beaten. So
now, what's that record up? Because he has close or has the record for the championship reign.
That I'm not 100% sure.
I was trying to look that up, and somebody
he's
mentioned
had
it
it the
to me.
longest.
Yeah, he's had it a long time, from what I understood, but I couldn't definitively do the research, and feel bad that I wasn't prepared for that. So then we're going to go to the Copperhead. I mean, there's not anything you can't say about the Copperhead that isn't true. He's brutal. Mm-hmm. He's mean. He's a rough and tough SOB. You have had him on your promotion quite a bit.
Yep.
Can you give a little information detail? Because it'd sound a little bit more impressive than a fan watching him, because he literally is the real deal.
Well, that's the thing. When you have a fan watching somebody and giving their feedback, I mean, that's really as real as you can get, because that's what we're trying to do. That's the emotion where we're trying to draw on.
Right.
The thing about even me being tenured and watching Duke Cornell is the fact that I would say the exact same things. And he's a roughneck. He's a fighter. He's a bully. He comes in to get the job done, and he does a very good job of it. I mean, I've watched him evolve over the years, and what he's turned into is menacing, and menacing in a good way, though.
Yeah,
he's very much like a man's man, and belongs, where he's at in professional wrestling.
Right.
So I think there's big things on the horizon for him.
Right. I'd like to say, just put it out there, that he's the original OG patch guy. I talked to him recently, and he was kind enough to give me the old "don't tag me in these type of comments" type of thing, because you don't want to mess with him. But he did like the fact that I gave a certain wrestler a little guff about trying to patch on.
Yeah.
I had to say that a little bit, give him a shout out. But we're going to go to the next match, and I'm going to let you introduce this one, because I think it's amazing. It's a ladies match.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, talent beyond talent out of these two. I'll let you go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, we have Terry Gordy's daughter, Miranda Gordy. She's making her main show debut for us. We did have her on one of our Patreon tapings towards the beginning of the whole quarantine that the country's been going through.
Yeah.
And we have Marti Belle as well. Obviously, Marti Belle, a former NWA competitor, also was in the Mae Young Classic. So yeah. I'm looking forward to that. To my knowledge, they've never squared off. So this is a first time meeting.
I haven't found anything to see if they square off, because I wanted to see what their match was like. I've seen, obviously, Marti quite a bit. Obviously, YouTube, on the shows, TV. But it's great to see Gordy's daughter in the wrestling ring. Can't wait to see that talent go one-on-one. Now, here's one that's kind of close to both of us here. We have both gentlemen. I call it the N and N, because I think they both start with an N, which is Mr. Niles Pollock. And I'm saying these names, and I'm sorry, I brutally
Plunkay.
There you go. Sorry, I brutalized, slaughter these names. And then we have Eugene Dinsmore, former WWE superstar, professional wrestling superstar himself, going one-on-one. I want to get your little stats and your little opinion on this match, because it's going to be entertaining. Well received, with history of experience, and it just speaks for themselves on the talent that they have. But give me a little rundown on this match.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've known Niles for a real long time. I think he's really one of the underrated heroes out here in the Midwest. He's so technically sound, and he's one of the most old school guys I know of in the ring.
Yeah.
And he just what he does, he just taps into what he loves. He really is a wine connoisseur, and the fact that it just comes so natural to him, it just emanates when he wrestles, and it just helps him channel. It's awesome. And obviously, I mean, there's Nick. I still know there's some Mr. Wrestling Nick Dinsmore somewhere. So I'm trying to draw it out of him because during our battles up at Midwest All Pro, I was trying to get it out of him up there, and one of these days I'm going to succeed. As much as I love the Eugene character and think it's entertaining, I want to see Mr. Wrestling. So
yeah. I've been a huge fan of the OVW for years, and Mr. Effin Wrestling is one of my all-time favorites, 10-time OVW champion. I gave a certain wrestler that we both know a lot of crap. If you know that information, you know that information, the reason why I kept pushing a match with Eugene. But no, he's very, very skilled, and I'd like to see that come out of him too. I really would. I think a Mr. Effin Wrestling coming out would be just perfect in that match. But I also want to say with Niles, old school feel, old school wrestler,
big time,
old school look. I love it. We need more of that type around.
Absolutely.
Can't say enough about that. I will say the next match I have not talked about yet. And I think it is... Oh, wait, no, we did talk about it. I'm being sarcastic here. I want to know more about this because what does this really... Give me that passion, what this really means to you going up for the NWA Heavyweight Championship.
It's recognition. There's the old cliche and the old adage where everybody's always like, "Oh, I've got so much passion. I love this business. I give everything for it. I do anything for it." I was that statistic for quite some time. I remember the days of leaving the Omaha area at 6 a.m. to go 8 hours to work for Ian Rotten, set up his ring, wrestle on the show, tear it down, and drive 8 hours home to be back at my shoot job. And, it got to a point where, I had to tell myself like that can't happen anymore. Like, I'm not going to be the guy that's the starving artist. Like I hit a point a couple years ago, right after I worked for the WWE and did 205 Live. And I was just like I look back at a lot of like, the extra guys that they use, for enhancement talent, job guys, whatever terminology phrase people know or want to use or whatever. And I look back at a lot of that and I'm like, no, like if you put my match with Akira Tozawa up against probably 90% of the other ones that they've had, like I look like I belong there.
Yeah.
Like I look like I knew what I was doing. I look like I belong there. Like, and that stuck with me. And it was just like, you know what? Like this is, what am I doing here? And I finally just decided, I just buried my face into it, and I just grinded. I mean, I've had a couple hiccups here and there. I've had some health issues I've been battling through for the last couple years, and ironically, I'm in better shape now at 35 years old than I've been in my entire 16, 17-year career. It's a shame that it's taken this long because, I feel it, but that's what this is. This is recognition that I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm doing it right now, and I'm gonna get what I deserve. So, well, this goes a lot further to me than just the NWA championship. I've held NWA gold before. I was the NWA Midwest X Division champion. I beat Matt Seidel for it in Lawrence, Kansas. It was 2006, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was
2005?
2006, 2005. Yeah. It was
Something
either
like
that latter late of the 2005 or early 2006.
Yep. And so, NWA Gold isn't it's not a stranger to me.
Right.
So I mean, I've got something to prove, and I'm absolutely going to do that. I feel bad that it's at his expense, and he has zero clue what he's about to get hit with. But that's the statement I have to make. So,
well, I mean, I've seen your matches before. I mean, and not to throw anybody under the bus, but like half of a certain roster knows how brutal you can be in the ring, how dominant you can be in the ring. Even though there's a certain individual that's trying to intimidate you somewhere else, I know better than that. But, we always go down to these roads and these interviews, and we go down a certain thing about, why don't you just like come out and not sugarcoat it and tell us how you really feel about this match with Nick Aldis. Like, I mean, I seen your promo. I mean, you have the fire, you have the passion. I mean, obviously, my personal opinion, he's taking it too damn lightly.
I mean, if that's really what it is, I can't get myself too worked up over it. But I mean, it's one of those things where over the course of this whole thing, I feel like, as I've done for many, many years, I'm just being overlooked. And like I said, that's going to be his biggest mistake coming into this match on Saturday. Because the more he just overlooks it, the more the NWA just overlooks this, all it's doing is fucking pissing me off. And that's not good. Like, you're going to get an entirely different animal when you do something like that. Because usually I'm pretty calm, cool, and collected. I like to have a good time when I'm out there because I'm doing what I absolutely love to do. And I'm really good at it. But now if you get a mean streak behind it, now you're just asking for something that you're not prepared for. And that's a side of me that I don't think anybody has seen since probably 2008, 2009, when I was in IWA Mid-South.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be wild. I'm definitely gonna leave it all on the table out there, and then some. I might dig into a reserve tank that I wasn't even sure I had. I mean, let's be real. I have the world record for the longest singles professional wrestling match ever. 2011, I wrestled for 7 hours straight.
Yeah.
That gets overlooked. Like, I should be in the Guinness Book of World Records, but the guy that promoted it dropped the ball. But I've got video proof of it. It happened. Yeah. So it's
they told you that you weren't going to be able to do it against Seidel, and look what happened when that match happened. So I mean, you don't buckle under pressure. I think that's where some of them try to say, but then I just laugh at them when they say it. But man, I have nothing but respect for you. I don't really like always coming on interviews when I have guests on here and kind of sound biased, but I am so damn proud of Midwest professional wrestling. I'm so damn proud of what you've done to help that, because we are overlooked. We always have people, that are naysayers that, oh, what do you guys got over here? And well, I'm sorry, but if you really want to prove something, you got to go through the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
Enough of the sugar coating, candy coating, little, pop, little whatever wrestling schools that you have on the West, East, and South. But if you want to be a true professional wrestler, this is where the professional wrestlers get made, really, right here in the Midwest. So we usually go to 3 random questions, but I think that I'm going to give you this platform to let everybody know where they can find you. And also, if you want to say any other final word, and we'll end at that.
Okay. Well, the easiest way to figure out what we're doing out here is you can follow us on Twitter at Magnum Wrestling. Find us on YouTube at Magnum Wrestling. We are about to kick off our Twitch with some pretty big stuff this Friday at 7. Again, Magnum Wrestling. Instagram at Magnum Wrestling. Our Facebook at Magnum Wrestling. I don't have a Twitter anymore because I fucking hate Twitter. My boy the Yellow Dog has it. He's at the Charismatic Canine. You can talk to him. I think he's kind of just been whatever about it lately, but he checks it from time to time. What other social? I don't have a Facebook page anymore because I stepped away from wrestling in November 2018.
Yeah.
I think I came back. I came back from my surgery, from my cancer surgery, and didn't think I could. Just didn't think I could go like I used to, and so it was like, I walk out on my own terms and see how long that lasted. So that's the best place to find out right now. I put all my eggs into the MagnumPro basket. So that's, if anything is going to come from like my legacy in wrestling, it's going to be from there. Hopefully, maybe that could all change Saturday. Who knows?
Yeah.
But, I want everybody to keep their eyes peeled. Check out our Twitch. We're going to go live there 7 p.m. Friday night. Give that a watch. There's a pretty big announcement coming in on there that directly affects Anniversary Volume 10. So you're going to want to check that out. I promise you that's not going to disappoint. If you have the ability to be in Omaha on Saturday, I would suggest do so. This is the first time the NWA title has been to Omaha in 57 years, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? To kind of close it out, Nick Aldis, if you happen to catch this, I'd love to get your thoughts going into Saturday. You could also, actually, the one thing you can check me out on is on my YouTube channel. I'd suggest you give it a look. Jaysin Strife on YouTube. There should be plenty of study material for you there. So I'd recommend you hit that up.
I think he should, because then he could have some type of idea. Like I said, I always tell everybody this: you don't take people lightly, and once you do, I've said this to the kids that I've coached. Once you take somebody lightly, you've already lost the game, already lost the match. So
Absolutely.
The end of story. I do want to thank you for being on here. I appreciate it. I know you're a busy man. You know how proud I am of you for doing all the hard work that you do. And you know what? We're going to be down there. Ladies and gentlemen, please get down to Omaha. Oh, there's Mr.
Commissioner
Dog.
Weston.
Commissioner Weston, the commish. Yeah. What's up, commish?
He's grumpy. He's ready for bed.
Right. Well, we will get this posted. It'll be on YouTube, our Kota iRadio Network podcast YouTube. I will send the video hopefully to you too, so then you can post wherever you want and share.
Awesome.
Man, go kick some ass, take
Absolutely.
some names. Make sure you run out of bubble gum, so then you don't have to sit there and choose between chewing bubble gum and kicking ass.
Typically don't chew bubble gum. I'm all about kicking ass.
There you go.
So,
all right. Well, my name is DjBBQ. This is Jaysin Strife. Everybody, thank you and have a good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cole Dawson here, host of the Pro Wrestling UnCut podcast and big brother of Candice LeRae. Join me and my co-host Ron Kilbourn every week as we discuss pro wrestling, all things pro wrestling. We discuss new, we discuss old, we talk to some of our friends from the wrestling business, and we even do a little bit of fantasy booking. So find us everywhere where you can download your podcast, like, subscribe, share, and tell your friends, kids. Have a good one. Mwah.
Kota iRadio Network is brought to you by Midwest All Pro Wrestling. Go to MidwestAllProWrestling.com and get tickets today. Remedy Brewing Company. It's the cure for what ails you. Jekyll and Hyde Barbecue. Jekyll and Hyde Barbecue makes barbecue so good, it'll put a smile on your face. And Kota iRadio Network is powered by KBack.Rock. Rock radio the way rock radio should be. Go to KBackRadio.com and listen today.